knowledge shared with hearts so true. Investors' dreams, they may come through. Developers with goals so high, rich stars touch the sky. Moneytree, Moneytree, grow your wealth, come and see. With Neil and Jackie guiding you, dreams will all come true. Classes filled with wisdom bright, shining through the darkest night. Property goes within your reach, lessons taught that teach. Unlock the door to what you seek. Neil and Jackie make you peak. Investing life, no more a game. You'll rise up in acclaim. Moneytree, Moneytree, grow your wealth, come and see. With Neil and Jackie guiding you, dreams will all come true. Moneytree, Moneytree, grow your wealth, come and see. With Neil and Jackie guiding you, dreams will all come true. Moneytree, Moneytree, grow your wealth, come and see. With Neil and Jackie guiding you, dreams will all come true. Moneytree, grow your wealth, come and see. With Neil and Jackie guiding you, dreams will all come true.
Oh, I'm a bit blurred.
It would help if I unmuted myself.
Well, oh, hang on. Can't hear you.
Hello, everybody. Oh my God, this is amazing. The amount of people that we've got on today. This is superb. Well, welcome to the show. We're live streaming on Facebook, I think. Hang on. I might have a bit of a concentration face at times while I'm trying to figure this out because this is the first time we've gone over to Facebook as well. So you're going to have to bear with me if every now and again I tend to freeze or look at something. Oh, what are you doing, Neil?
Well, I'm in not so sunny Alton Broads, Lowestoft.
Nice.
And I'm just having my breakfast because I'm starving.
Oh, so Neil was up incredibly early, about 5:30, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I know that you were texting our caretaker at our apartment block at, I don't know, before 8 to say that you were going to meet him there shortly.
And he was
So-
here working hard.
You have, or he has?
He was, yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. That's what we're paying for.
So it's just fabulous to have you all on the show, all spending your hour with us today. Excuse us if we're a little bit sleepy. We had our networking last night. It was a fab and a really great evening. Sam, who usually helps us, she got called away to a family emergency. So Neil and I were left feral. We had no idea who was going to be turning up. So we just completely winged it. But we had a great turnout. I think we started with like 8 in the morning, didn't we? And then I think we had nearer 30 by the time the evening actually started. So yeah, it was fab. So if you did make it to last night's networking event, then thank you very much for supporting us. Thank you very much for turning up.
And we had a great presentation from Luca, which was very
really did.
Because Andy and I have been looking at the light steel fabrication for buildings, haven't we? And Luca sort of endorsed the fact that they are fully mortgageable and recognised and certificate and certificated and everything. So
Yeah, because we were worried about how mortgageable they were going to be, but he actually really reiterated the fact that most of London is steel, flats, blocks of flats are steel. So yeah, that sort of, I think that confirmed it for me as well. Yeah, so he was really good, and from doing the 10-minute member spotlight, he actually then got it over to half an hour, which helped us out greatly.
yeah,
So yeah, it's fantastic when our community rallies around, which do you know what, there's a topic I really want to talk about today. But yeah, Luca, I just say, Luca, can you do half an hour? And he was like, yeah, I can talk for longer if you want. I was like, fabulous, yay.
can I
Hello.
just say I've done absolutely no prep today? Just say
I
no.
didn't really expect you to, because you've been on the road, you've been hoisting sofas around, and well, actually, you've been to Lowestoft and Caister this
Taster this
morning
morning,
already, and then you're back in Lowestoft again now.
yeah.
So, and it's only 12:30. So yeah,
And
I
I've
shall give you.
had a meeting with an estate agent as well. I went in there for an hour. So
Oh, did you? Oh, amazing. So I'll hear all about that when you get home.
couple of freehold blocks of apartments, one freehold.
Cool, cool, cool.
We're ready to take an offer.
Oh, oh my God, that's really exciting.
It is.
Excellent, excellent. So I will do our normal open and ask you the same question that I ask you every single week, is what is new in your world this week? There's nothing, stony silence. Have you not done anything new?
Anything new this week? I've learned a lot about warranties on new builds this week.
That's really good.
Yeah, I've learned a hell of a lot about warranties and retrospective ground contamination reports, which is quite unique. That they can do it from the desktop. I don't know how that works, but there you go. But I've got the report to come through.
That's really good.
That ticks the box for the warranty. I can't quite work out how, but I'll take it.
Cool. We've been on such a learning curve over the last few months with all sorts of things, all sorts of stuff. When this current period is over, we've got so many learnings to share, but we'll wait. We'll wait until it's past.
But always learning.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, but we have got so much to share. Things that have happened over the last few months.
I'll tell you very
In
quickly.
quick succession, but we
Tell you
want to
very
do that
quickly.
once so far.
At the flat, no, so at the bungalow this morning, it's a private lane with just 3 bungalows down it. So ours is the first one you come to, nice and gated driveway, electric charging, all that stuff. But the one to the right, they've got a caretaker who's this typical Norfolk strange old boy. The hair coming out of his nose is longer than the hair on his head. But he said to me, I've been texting you non-stop, all these people that want to buy your property, and I haven't received any of them, so I don't know what number he's texting. He said, yeah, I had some foreigner come along and said he'd offer you $1 million. So I said, well, can you get his number then?
Was that in rupees, not in
Oh,
pounds?
I don't know, but he said it's been non-stop, people walking down the lane, falling in love with it externally and wanting to offer it. I'm going, well, there's 2 estate agent boards out there. If they were that serious, surely they'd call an estate agent.
Yeah, absolutely. Or
Yeah.
there's an estate agent right nearby. You'd think they might pop in there and go, do you know anything about it? But hey ho, that's people for you. So have you got any questions for us this week? Basically, we need a little bit of help for content this week, is what I'm saying. So if you have any questions, stick them in the chat. Steve was amazing last week with EPC. So if you want to hop on, discuss anything, please feel free to do that. Our mentees are doing amazing stuff. The growth that we've seen in just over the last few weeks or few months is just fantastic. And it brings us such pride and joy to see just see the progression and the momentum that's starting to take place as well. So
I think a
about
big
that.
shout out to everyone that turned up last night, but especially Nigel and Anne-Marie, because they come quite a distance to be there last
Well,
night.
yeah, who was the winners
What
out
time did you get
actually?
home?
Late.
Late. Who were the winners? Because we had Sonia and David come from Lincoln and we're in
Grantham, yeah,
Colchester.
they come from Grantham.
And then Nigel and Anne-Marie, Tilbury, Ashford and Kent. So yeah, so
Yeah.
was Nigel the winner?
Yeah, hats off to you anyway. It's yeah.
Thank you.
I was wondering if Rob Moore is the Rob Moore.
Oh,
Is-
see,
is
that's
this-
not.
is-
No, damn it! He's put his
Ah.
camera. So that's
You
not
probably met
claim
him
to
last night,
fame.
actually.
Rob Moore, the disruptor.
You
It
probably
can
met him
be.
last night, and he wasn't
2 or
very
3
disruptive,
years.
was he?
I was gonna keep that under our hat, but I was gonna talk about Rob Moore and how he's helping us, but I wasn't gonna actually disclose it wasn't the Rob Moore.
Well, it is the Rob Moore, but not the
It is
property Rob Moore.
it's the
Yeah.
real Rob Moore.
Yeah, the official, the original is what we're going to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think he's probably older than you, to be fair.
was
Technically, yes.
So I thought we'd talk about I was sort of reflecting on our last few months of our life and all the things that we've had thrown at us, and I was just really thinking about the people that we've got within our community, within our circle, who've really
Oh my word, yeah.
helped us out, like really helped us out. We've had missing information on the new build bungalow Fourth Bridge.
It's
that's
been
now-
withheld. That's the trouble. It's been
all right.
withheld.
But missing we were unable to
Yeah.
have it, and which we needed, and the people that have Andy's really helped us out, and the builders really helped us out, and so I just really wanted to talk about, the having your community and being. We always talk about rubbing shoulders with the right people, about how getting it's usually about sort of information and how you get fed different bits of information, but the people that are in our circle have just been amazing for us over the last few months.
I will just mention that it's all about being real and being true to yourself and being honest with people. Because Mike, our builder, he built an identical property in Mildenhall and he put it up and sold it in 4 months. Ours is very close to 4 years. But Mike walked off site because he hadn't been paid, and the person that was meant to be paying him told him that it was us that wasn't paying him, and it's not true. He was funding the build, our joint venture partner, and he wasn't paying. So rightly so, Mike walked off site. I had no dealings with Mike because our joint venture partner was the project manager as well. So I've rebuilt that relationship with Mike to get him back on site to finish it. He's still owed a lot of money by my joint venture partner, but he really has come to the party over the last month or so to help us get this across the line. So, that is respect, because, I'm paying the bills as they come in from him for the different bits and pieces we need to finalise everything to get the warranty on it. But he's putting a lot of effort in behind the scene to make these arrangements, to get everything emailed across. And so, yeah, hats off to him, because he's owed a lot of money on 2 projects by our 2 joint venture partner. In excess of 200k is owed, but he's still working hard for us. So that's utmost respect.
Yeah, it's been fab, the help that we've had, just reaching out to people, just being able to talk to people that understand. I think that's one of the great things about being in a property community is that property, it's not an easy game. I don't want to put anybody off because the rewards are amazing, but you do have to work at it. And we had such acceleration, especially through COVID, that we had such growth with our business that we actually, basically we sat back a bit and went, let's just enjoy the ride.
We lost a bit of control, to be fair.
Yeah, we did lose control. But and then it got really tough at the end of last year. but it's made us really look like, actually, it's like, you know, we really need to look at what we're paying out. And there's lots of things that have come to the surface that we're like, right, okay, we've just, you know, let things roll along, and to actually look at it, you know, we're business people at the end of the day and property investors, but we were going more on the property investor route than the business people route. So yeah, lots and lots of learnings. It's just one of those things. It's a yin and the yang, isn't it? When things are tough, then you start to knuckle down, and actually you start to look closer at stuff, and then you're like, why do we not do this all the time? When
Huge
things are
wake
going
up
really
call.
good. Yeah, you do. You get comfortable, and then it's the old universe. I know Neil always raises his eyebrows when I talk about the universe, but it is the universe. It's slapping. She slaps you back down again, and goes, look, just actually look at what you're doing, and then you can do things better. And yeah, and then you
While we're on the subject of rubbing shoulders with the right people, big shout out to Andy as well, who put me in touch with James, who come along and did all the SAPS assessment and everything. So yeah, it's about people you know and connecting people. So appreciate that.
Yeah, but that's what we talk about, community. Yeah, a lot of time you sort of, it's told to rub shoulders with the right people because the magic wears off. But it's when times get a bit tough that you really realize how great your community is, and the people that you can really rely on. Yeah, that's I just thought I'd share that really, because you know it gets bounded about a lot, and people try and do this on their own as well, and I cannot imagine doing this, even just like Neil and I as you know, business partners and as life partners as well. I'll just say something nice about you, just
Go on then.
next 30 seconds.
I'll
But
take it.
well, yeah, I mean, we have different roles, we have different personalities, but crikeys, I couldn't imagine doing this by myself.
And I think the important bit is there's never any blame.
No, and it's so, it would be so easy
It's
to
easy to, believe me.
but it would be, wouldn't it? It would. We could
Yeah.
discuss that actually, because it really would. So if you're working in a partnership, it is super, especially if you have, you know, two relationships going with that one person, like Neil and I have, a business and, you know, life partnership as well. It would be so easy to point the finger, to blame, but you know, we're in this together. So, you know, we could both do things differently at some point in time. But if we've left it to the other one to do and then just let it roll, then, you know, but we're in it together. So you cannot put that finger, because that would just be disastrous. I think
Yeah.
we've had a few like short little snaps for about 10 seconds, and then we're like, oh. And there was
Have we?
so well, exactly. They were
I
so
must have
minor
switched
that you
off.
haven't noticed.
I must have switched off.
Those little filters have just closed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have anything that you would like to discuss today, then please feel free to stick it in the chat. Any comments, hop on. Yeah.
So you haven't got a question for you know.
Well, to be fair, I did have, and now I've forgotten what it was.
Oh my God.
Oh, I do know, actually. I do know. So my question for you, okay, I want to really talk about being consistency and believing in the process. So we have come across people, we've had people in our mentorship as well who try things very short term, and then they don't believe in the process. They think that it doesn't work. Why will it work in this area? I've tried it 10 times and it's not working. So I'm gonna pass the waffle baton over to you to just give your views on, you know, giving up too early, really. Over to you.
I can refer very quickly to a mentor of ours, actually, Mark Dalton, who is Mr. You cut him open, he is Mr. Cookie Cutter. It's buy to lets all day long, over and over and over again. I dread to think how many he's got. It's got to be in the hundreds. He's never changed his strategy. It's always buy to lets, and it's a numbers game. I view the property, I run the numbers, I offer where it works, I get a no, and I leave it on the table, and I follow up every fortnight until I get a yes. And he, at any one point, claims, and I've got no reason to doubt him, he's got at least 40 offers on the table at any one time. So this is the sort of commitment and consistency you need, I think, to succeed. Is I refer very much now to the book Go for No, because it's changed my mindset. I'm not afraid of a no in any situation now, even if I'm trying to pull when I'm out with the lads, you know. I'm joking. But I get a lot of no's then, I can tell you.
And when you get home.
Oh yeah, more at home. But in all honesty, as Jackie said, a lot of our historic mentees doubt the system, doubt the process, but we're proof, Mark Dalton's proof that it works. You've got to be out there, and I'll say this to sort of Nigel and Anne-Marie, because they need to bank deals, and to bank deals you need a lot of offers out there, and you need to be following them up, and the magic really is in the follow-up. Because I've popped into an agent today who we've bought, I would suggest 65–70% of our properties through one agent, independent agent, biggest agent in Lowestoft. But the owner has taken a real back seat for personal reasons. He's only a young man, but him and his are they married? Him and his partner are they're business partners and life partners as well, and they've had to take a back seat from the business because of personal reasons. So I'd lost that connection with the agency. So I've been back in today to see James, who's taken over as general manager, to rebuild that so that they don't forget us. And I walk in there, and this is how long since I've been in there, I didn't recognize anyone except James. Everybody has changed. So I've been there just introducing myself to everyone. Stinks of what you think of me, so they all remember me. And I'm walking out, and they think, you know, as you go out, think, if we get anything smelly, it's all yours, Neil. And so instantly you're memorable. And they will now feed me opportunities. They won't all be deals, but they'll all be potential opportunities. And it is about consistency and building those relationships, because I used to get fed opportunities from Paul Hubbard weekly by WhatsApp before they went to market. But because he's not on the scene at the moment, it all stopped. So I've gone back in to rebuild that and to stay consistent and be in touch with them non-stop now. And already they've created 2 potential opportunities of blocks of freehold flats under one title. So I think it is very much view, offer, and follow up on everything. Expect a lot of no's, even expect some insults, because we've had one agent in Lowestoft who will refuse to show us any properties now because he says we can't even put a sensible offer on anything. All our offers are an insult, he reckons. And I said, well, yeah, but it works as a business. Look how many we bought in Lowestoft. So it's you as an agency that has got a mindset problem about, you know, getting them across the line. So you don't need to work with everyone. You need to work with people that you can really connect with and can see the opportunity for them as well as us. So that's where I'll finish.
Yeah, 100%. I think it is forgotten that property is a people's game, that it is about building those relationships. It's about using your contacts as your power team. I remember when we first started sort of in property, when we were doing the seminars and, you know, the 3-day trainings that we went on, that it seemed to be like the estate agent was like your enemy almost.
Yeah.
Because I mean they're salespeople at the end of the day. So, you know, that human being is all about trying to get their commission. They're not thinking, they have a different mindset to the way that we now have. When we first started in property, it was all about us. It was all about our gains, about how, you know, what we wanted. But you start to realize once you're really in the mix of property that actually it's people that really help you. We could never understand why these property trainers, if they were so successful, were standing, you know, spending their Friday, Saturday, Sunday with us in a room, you know, on maybe a beautiful sunny day. So if they're so successful, then why are they standing here teaching us? So it was like a lot of disbelief, wasn't it? That we didn't believe that they were doing it for the fun of it. But, you know, now we know that actually they are because
But we're
they,
still with Mark Dalton 7 years on,
yeah,
and he hasn't changed his message in 7 years.
no,
You know, and he runs this T60 program, and he's delivering exactly the same program he was 7 years ago, but it works and people are getting huge success. The frightening thing is about these big organizations that statistically less than 5% of these people are paying 25 grand, etc. Are having ending up with more than one property. Less than 5% for 25 grand. I mean, that's deposit on some of the houses we buy.
yeah.
So you want to end up with more than one property to get a return on that investment, don't you?
Most definitely. Most definitely. I hate to think how much we've actually spent on on training, but that's part of it as well. It is continual learning as well. We are continually learning, not just like paid for learning, which we do a lot, but also we're, you know, like last night with Luca, give Luca a massive shout out, but just learning about him as a person, because we love Luca. He's a fantastic human being, and I love the way that he's quite happy to get thrown in the deep end, stand up and take the reins for like half an hour. But he's so natural, and he's got a very dry sense of humor. But it just showed his presentation last night about what a problem solver he is. So it is and the amount of knowledge that he has as well. So
I can
yeah,
just give you an example of having a good relationship with someone within an agency, because obviously I went to see James again, who's been there a long time, but he's now general manager. And he said, have you noticed the one on Normanson Drive, which we've had our eye on for probably
years.
3-4 years?
Yeah.
We tried to buy it, but we got pipped at the post, but the person that bought it made a complete hash of everything. And now is in massive negative equity. And unfortunately, James informed me that he's terminally ill, the vendor, and he's just reduced it by 75,000 to try and move it on. So it's come down from 425 to 350. So I want to get in touch with him. So I'll go through the agent, which is Aldridge, and I want to get in touch with him and see if he'll work almost like an assisted sale. So, okay, we'll extend the existing property, we'll develop the bungalow in the garden, and then we can give you the 350 you want. If you don't want to do that route, we'll offer you 300 now. So it's, you know, it's about opportunities really. And he's brought that. It's not even with him. It's not even on his books, James. It's with a competitor in the area, but he saw it as an opportunity for us. So that's when you really know you've got people on the right side, on your side, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really important. It is really important. So I'm going to open the floor just to give my brain a little rest for 5 to 10
You're
minutes.
fed up with hearing me, aren't you?
Yeah. Talking about consistency, so it's someone that Anne-Marie and myself know, and so he's part of our WhatsApp group. He's the person who rang me actually at the event last night.
Oh yeah. When
So-
I made you do 10 press ups.
Exactly that. Did you take a picture of it? Oh, what a shame.
I wish. Yeah.
So he is very much into purchase lease options. He lives abroad, yeah, and I won't give his name because he might see this video sometime. As people have been, so he rings agents in this country to offer buying their property over a 6 or 7 year period. So he'll ring up agents in an area who doesn't necessarily know. He's been doing it for 3 months. Yeah, he puts in like 10 offers per day. 10 offers per day. He makes a lot of calls. his first vendor last week, I think it was, who said, yes, I want to do that. So it shows that if you do, even though I don't necessarily agree with all his methods, if you do consistently call enough people, and to put 10 offers in, you've got to talk to quite a few people.
Yeah.
And he's selling his solution when they haven't actually told him they've got a problem. So, which
Yeah.
is not necessarily the best way of doing it, as I keep on telling him, but he still does it. And even if you do that, you do, if you do the numbers, you will become successful at some stage. And he's
Absolutely.
proven it. He's proven it.
Yeah.
And the vendor, he's spoken to the vendor's happy with it. It's a good deal. And whoever's going to buy it, it's going to be a vendor buyer. So someone can buy it over a 6 or 7 year period. I can't remember. And I think the rent in the area is something like 650, and they need to pay £1,000 a month, and they will own the property.
Yeah, and it just shows about consistency. It shows about mindset as well. Because imagine how demoralizing it could feel.
3 months of ringing.
Yeah, of doing
And getting a
10
no.
calls a day.
Going for no to the extreme there, yeah.
Well, absolutely.
But you're changing your expectation, because he is just setting himself a target. He's going, well, most people aren't going to want this, but my challenge is just to get through the calls, not to get yeses. It's just to complete the task. So yeah, so that's that change of mindset, and that's what's so important. It is the knockbacks that's
moving forward with the Renters' Rights Bill, etc., and the EPCs.
Guys, I've got to go. I've got to
All right.
Thank you,
listen about
Nigel.
AI.
Nice to see you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Andrew, take care then.
Yeah, so moving forward with the Renters' Rights Bill and the EPCs, there's going to be a lot of distressed landlords. And the reason they're distressed is because they're old school. They've never put the rent up, and they've never done any repairs on their property. So, which is why predominantly they're getting below market rent. So this creates a huge opportunity for the, if you like, the assisted sale, because they won't have put any money aside to do the repairs. So they're going to have to sell them below market value. So if you can almost offer them more than they're marketing it for, offer to do the upgrades to get them to its true value, and you share the profit at the end. So you're paying to do the upgrades without buying the property, so you haven't got cost of money involved. And then you can actually, pay them out what they're asking for, rather than offering dramatically below what they're asking for.
Yeah, and the beauty is that you haven't got any purchasing fees, you haven't got to pay for stamp duty.
Absolutely.
There isn't any of those fees to go alongside it. So yeah, my thoughts are there's going to be loads of creative ways to buy property now. I mean, pre-COVID, buying property was pretty easy. I mean, we were just snapping them up, weren't we? Below market deals.
Bring those days back, yeah.
We were just snapping them up.
Money was cheap.
Like they were sweets. It was so easy. And then through COVID, obviously we had that massive price hike, where it was definitely a seller's market and not a buyer. And now it seems to have plateaued, but there's just so many changes. So it is about constantly pivoting, constantly looking, it's still having that same focus of what you want the end goal to be, but it's just that route may change. So it is all about having that monthly income and capital appreciation, especially for Neil and I. That's the two important things that we can buy below market value, whatever that looks like, and have that monthly cash flow. But it's whether you start to look, if buy-to-lets don't work so much, which the cash flow now has decreased, but it's still cash flows. It's just maybe, to be realistic, it's dropped by about 50% over the last couple of years. But it is just about, what other strategies do work, like the assisted sale, like with social housing. That's another hot topic at the moment as well, because you're guaranteeing those rents. You can actually create a business through social housing, so you can look to sell not as a bricks and mortar asset, but you could look to sell like in 10-15 years an actual business asset. So there's lots of different ways of getting involved in property and making sure that you're sort of using the right strategy for the right time in the market.
And also, I think due diligence on the area. I mean, the majority of our portfolio is based in Lowestoft. There's an element of luck about the capital growth because the third crossing of Lake Lothing was always on the cards, but nobody actually believed it would ever happen. And then the government backed it and funded it. So it's now, I've been over it twice today. It's fantastic. First time I've been over it. So it's a big gullwing bridge, 125 million. It filled our apartments, which are half a mile away during the build. And we were really romping away from that end. But also, they've already seen capital growth beyond what they've ever seen. So they had 11% during 2022, 11% capital growth in an area that historically gets about 1% a year. And you can see that there's no snarl up of traffic anymore. So companies are going to invest here. It's a huge port now. They've just spent £34 million on the port. So there's lots of industries coming to town, which means there's going to be a lot of people wanting to move here, which will push house prices up. So we could see another surge in the capital growth. Like I say, there's an element of fortune to that for us, but there are other areas that I think are very similar, and I think Harwich being one of them. It's been granted Freeport status, but nothing's really happened yet. But if you want to invest there now, I think that's really good that nothing's happened yet because the properties are still in low demand. So you can go out there, do 40 viewings, do 40 offers, and just wait for the magic to happen. And then 5 years down the line, look at the capital growth. And our first property we ever bought in Lowestoft, we bought for 82,000. I think we spent about 38 on it.
Yeah, over budget.
We got it revalued at 160. So the costs, all bar a few pence, were 130, 135 with buying costs. Got it revalued at 160, so we got all our money out. And then we had it valued the other day because we're considering selling it. And they valued it at 215. So that's 45k capital growth in 5 years in this area, which amounts to virtually, what's that, 20%, 25%, which is unheard of. I mean, we haven't sold it yet, don't get me wrong. But if I
I'm
was
doing the nod like I'd done the calculations.
well, if I was to take an offer of 200, that's 25% growth, isn't it? On 160,
I know.
roughly.
Yeah.
33%, in fact. Is that right?
Calculations at this moment in time are not my thing.
Too many numbers for you, weren't there?
That was a lot of numbers all in one time. I need to see them on paper.
I think it's all about research the area to implement the right strategy.
Yeah, it is. It's and to look at what, at multiple strategies as well, not just one. An area gives you so much. Something that Neil and I get a bit geeky, to be fair, when it comes to an area like when we figured out the wind farm thing, the renewable energy, we were then looking at wind turbines, and I was like, oh my god, because we were having like the technicians stay at our service accommodation, so then wind turbines became really interesting, and then the bridge was being built. We're like, oh my god, have you seen the stuff on the bridge? So yeah, we got really geeky.
And then we had a
And then
day
there's
out at
certain boats
Sizewell
that were
Beach.
coming into port, and we were getting really excited about the Endeavour coming into Lowestoft. So yeah, we do geek out a little bit, to be fair, on our area, but that's what makes it interesting, and you can see what's going on as well.
I don't know if it's a high point or a low point, but we also had a day at Sizewell Beach, doing a tour of Sizewell Beach, and believe me, it's eye-opening. The size of everything is eye-opening.
The visitor centre is loads of fun as well. Creating your own electricity by whizzing things around.
They've got two backup diesel generators, which are just in case anything goes wrong. And they're a size of a 4-bed detached house, each of them. These generators, they're just immense. It's unreal.
Yeah, we do geek out, but this is how you then get to know, the industries, and you understand the industries. It's something that we talk a lot about when people are setting up service accommodation, to be fair, is they're looking at, just like, the I don't know, the overrun of the local hotel. They're not really looking at the guests that are staying and looking at, you know, where these people are coming from, the lifestyle that they lead when they're staying in the
Well,
apartments. Because we've got lots of offshore workers, and they're very tidal as well. So, you know, we've got people that will go to work later in the afternoon because of the tide. So it's really about, to us, it really is about knowing who our target audience, you know.
and
We talk about an avatar a lot. There's always in marketing about talking about an avatar,
then
but
you've
we
got to
really
see
do understand that.
what you've got to see what's important to them as well. Then not
Yeah,
from a work point of view and from a mental well-being point of view, because
yeah,
if the sea's rough, they don't go to work, they don't go out to sea, so they have to work from your apartment. So you need good Wi-Fi. So it's worth investing in good Wi-Fi because you're going to get repeat business because they can work, you know, consistently without any hiccups. And also, where ours are in Alton Broad, although it's a seaside town, coastal town, Alton Broad doesn't shut down because it's just set back. And so you've got lots of restaurants, you've got pubs, you've got everything, you know, supermarkets, barbers, hairdressers,
because
you've got
people
everything.
actually live there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got everything here and lovely parks and walks and boat rides and everything. So, you know, from a mental switching off from work, it just makes perfect sense to them.
Yeah, and that is super important, especially when you're setting up service accommodation. When we first started, it was all about how many people could you cram into one room, like how many people actually, how many heads on beds could you get into one bedroom, and then COVID hit. Instantly, COVID hit. Like 2 days after we'd set up our first service accommodation
Yeah,
unit,
yeah.
we
Great
went
time.
into a lockdown. Fantastic. Then that all changed. So it was about like how many people could you fit literally into, you know, top to toe, one bedroom, how many people could, you know, how can you maximize the income? And then it went to everybody's got to have you know, their own bedroom, their own space. And that's how it seems to have stayed. But yeah, it's super important you think about your customer. Even when you're doing an HMO, doing, you know, a regular rental, you need to think about who your target audience is at the very
But
beginning.
I think we've had a steep learning curve because we were making seriously good money from day one on our 21 apartments in Lowestoft. Because there's 54 million pounds worth of flood defence work going on. There was the offshore wind farm that Boris claimed he was going to make the biggest in Europe, and then there was the third crossing at 125 million, which actually cost 135 million in the end. And then there's the development of the port, spent 34 million on that. So the contractors absolutely everywhere. And we really were romping away, but then the rest of the world in Lowestoft decided they'd turn their spare bedroom into Airbnb. So there's competition everywhere. And when you just watch, and our management company at the time weren't very proactive. They were just sitting on their laurels and thinking, oh, it's going to come to us. We haven't got to work hard to get business in. And it nosedived. So we've spent the last 3 months, I reckon, 3-4 months, we've appointed new management team and really focusing on it with them, working with them to fill it again, because it's been a tough 6 months probably through from a service accommodation point of view. So you've got it. You can't take your eye off the ball, and we very much did, and we've very much learned that we can't do that.
Haven't we just?
Yes, yeah. I've just about sell your car, by the way.
Oh, nice. Thank you again. Thanks for that. Yeah, we're going to be carless soon, aren't we?
Well,
I've decided actually, you know, your question to me yesterday was, can I do without heated seats? On the way home from networking last night, my answer is no. It's a non-negotiable. I cannot do without heated seats.
You not got enough warmth in that derriere of yours?
No, I really haven't. I was like switching on the electric seat, the heated seat, and I was like, cannot do without this. So please, next car needs to have heated seats.
Oh, right. I'm not sure Fiat 500s have them.
Citroen 2CV.
Anyway, I'm sure everyone's heard enough of our waffle.
Anybody want to jump on? Anything from anybody? Any subjects they want us to cover?
So I did a couple of slides on this EPC for you, if you're interested.
Oh, yes,
Absolutely. Let's make
please.
you co-host. Hang on.
Come on, let's geek out on EPCs. I love this stuff.
Oh, I can't do that. Can you make
I
Steve
can.
co-host?
Oh, this
I'm
is really
authority.
exciting.
I was hoping to stream from our penthouse, but despite being the owner, I can't get in it because I don't know the code. They've changed the code, so I can't get in it.
Oh, Rob Moore, just before Steve, well, Steve's getting set up, Rob has just put, can you get blacklisted for an estate agent from putting below market value offers in? Absolutely, yes, you can, but they're not the people that we want to work with. We want to work with the people that understand our business model and want to be part of our team and understand that we're going to buy more than one property every like 5 years. So yeah, so they're the people we want to work with.
Interestingly, we've actually been forcibly removed from a viewing. We went for a second viewing with our build team at the time and with one of his employees, and then he turned up, screeched to a halt, ran in, dragged us out, said we've been in there too long. How bizarre is that?
All part of the fun.
And then he sold it to someone below what we offered. So it was just, we didn't connect, obviously.
Thank you, Steve. Take it
Right,
away.
here
I'm
we
really
go, yeah.
excited about this.
So the SAP is based on upon what they call a standard occupancy model. So if you look at the axis along the bottom there, that's the total floor area in meters squared, and the number of occupants assumed is based upon that value. So if you look at your apartment, which I think you said is 111, right? And that assumes nearly 3 people. And what the model assumes is that you're going to turn the heating on, or this is how it works, from 2 hours in the morning and from 4 to 11 in the evening, depending upon the controls that you use, or 6 till 11. And the showers and baths and things like that are based upon the number of occupants. So there's a standard figure for those. So what the model then does, it looks at the amount of money you're going to spend to keep that at a set temperature, because the temperature that it's set at between these values is 21 degrees. So depending on where you live in the country, if you live in the coldest place in the country, it's going to be harder to get to a higher EPC value. Okay. Now forget about all these numbers here, but if you look at the blue line, so this is the amount of money per year per band for 111 square meter dwelling. So it's your dwelling, right? And the way that figure is arrived at in that blue band is you take the kilowatt hour, you take how you're generating that kilowatt hour. So most properties would have a mixture between gas and electric or something like this, but you've just got electric. So what they do is they multiply this kilowatt hour by this so-called primary energy factor that you can see at the bottom here. And this is to compensate for how much it costs to get it to the building. So you're using electric, so there's a multiplier of 1.5 on that. And the SAP calculation is based upon these figures. So you're using electric, so you're paying in this calculation 16.49 pence, right? So if you look at the example that you sent to me, where it says PV here, you're using 4,300 kilowatt hours.
Okay.
You multiply it by this point, and this has already got the primary energy factor applied to it. So you multiply it by this cost, and you arrive at this yearly figure, which is 709. You put through the standard SAP equation, and it comes out to this figure here called 83, which is a B, right? Before you put PV on, you were using 5,400 kilowatts. Put that through the standard SAP equation, and it came out at 71, which is a C. Okay.
Yep.
So this figure here that you are using, this is a balance between how efficient your house is and how much heat you have to put in order to maintain a temperature and to use the amount of hot water that your occupants have effectively been from the previous slide. Okay?
Yeah.
Makes sense. So if you're going to use electric, the obvious thing is to have a look at using off-peak, because the off-peak rate is much lower than so with off-peak you pay more than your nominal during the day, and you pay much less during the night. This is how off-peak works. But most of your electricity, most of your kilowatt hours are going on to water heating, not space heating. So I guess that if you looked at an off-peak meter, then you would probably get a better value, a better SAP rating than you've currently got. This is my feeling. I can have a look at that if you want. So what I also did is had a look at, so I've got an old flat, a very old flat. This thing was built in 1900 or beforehand. It's a small flat. It's 42 meters squared. Its height is 2.85 meters. It's got some old double glazing in, but the walls are solid brick. There's a bit of internal plaster, but no insulation. I haven't modeled it with electric. There's electric storage heaters in, but let's forget about that for a minute. It's a so-called enclosed flat, a mid-terrace. There's some other things that go with it. So I thought I'd just give you a quick feeling for, I'll call it the difficulty of getting this to a C, a C. So we start off, and it's actually an E, but I've started off by, and gas is not available in this building.
Right.
And this makes it pretty bloody difficult, to be honest with you, because of this. So clearly, from the normal fuels, gas is much, much cheaper than electric, and it's half the cost of bulk LPG. Okay? But if you go back here, so I've said if I use bottled LPG, which is the easiest to do here, then I'm starting off at 50 at a D rating. If I dry line it, then I'm going to go up to still a D, but I'm going up to 58. If I move to bulk LPG, then I go to 63 because of the factor, this total energy factor. If I insulate the walls at 50 mil, then I go to 65. If I insulate the walls at 100 mil, I go to 66. If I reduce the ceiling, I go to 68. If I put this slightly better boiler in, then I can get to 69, which is the C.
My word.
Because I'm starting off a solid brick, and I'm going to show you something different now. So if I start off having insulated this flat and look at different fuels, then if you look here at gas, then by putting gas in, I've gone from 69 to 79 now, okay, with the same configuration. So I say, okay, so if I don't do the insulation on the wall, then I'm at 76. If I don't lower the ceiling, I'm at 75. So all I had to do to that flat, if gas was available, is put gas in, and I'm okay to level C, at a C rating. So I had a quick look at some other stuff down here as well. Surprisingly, and you have to look at the cost of whatever fuel you're using. There's a an efficiency associated with converting it into heat. But you'll see the most economical from a grading perspective is to use oil,
Really?
right? But you can see that I might have got that figure wrong actually, because the emissions I was expecting to be higher, but the emissions are 1.5. If I use house coal, I'm still also doing very, very well, but you can see the emissions are really high, 2.9 tons. Gas is by far the easiest thing to use if you've got gas available. I had a quick look at heat pumps. So whether it's an air source or a ground source, they without putting the actual make and model in, this comes out at the same efficiency, right? But what the government is trying to do is from what I understand, it's sort of steering you down a path of using electricity because what they expect to do is to be able to, they're looking to clean up the electricity generation through wind and everything else. So the factor that you're applying is gonna reduce over time, something like this. Okay. So that gives you a feeling for, I'll call it, how this SAP is working, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh, you got more?
No, that was it. I just did
Well,
it
it's
quick.
quite interesting actually, because we've got a little terraced house, mid-terraced house, and it's got 50 mil of internal insulation on the exterior, well, all four walls actually, because I think they tried to soundproof it at the same time. So yeah, we've got 50 mil of insulation internally. We've got double glazed windows. We've got brand new state-of-the-art electric heaters. We've got on-demand only electric heaters for the water, an electric shower. 300 mil of loft insulation, LED lighting, and we got a D.
Yeah, you have to go to this dual rate electricity, and it'll be okay.
But I mean, there's not a lot else we can do. And the other issue, the real big issue is, even if you've got a C now, when they release the new criteria next year, it's quite likely that's not going to reach a C next time.
There is a danger. Not with my flat, I don't think, because.
But with your flat, then, where would you store gas?
Outside.
Is it ground floor? Is it?
It's first floor, but it's so because the building is owned by. It's not just the building as well.
Right.
So to be honest with you, I put LPG in before I did all this work, right? Or my son did, right? Having done all this, I wouldn't have bothered buying the bloody thing, to be honest with you. But this is a different point.
I think Andy had a question. Andy, feel free to hop on.
Yeah.
I just wondered how you done that calculation with solar panels and battery backups.
What I've been using is the RDSAP software. That's so the figures that
if you've got an all electric property,
yeah,
and you've got solars with battery backup,
yeah, you can put that into the model.
Right.
So the main thing that solar is going to do for you is to reduce how much you're taking from the grid. This is what happened with Neil's assessment that I looked at. He got an assessment and they did a theoretical set. If you use PV, you're going to reduce from, I think, 5,400 kilowatts to 4,300. And that gave him a band. It moved him from C to B, mainly because he was able to minimize the electricity use. If you've got a battery, you're going to be able to minimize that further because you're using you're taking it out of the battery when you need it, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna help further.
That's interesting actually, because they recommended that we had I think it was 9 solar panels installed at the bungalow.
Yeah.
But that is because they were working on the new criteria, not criteria that's in place when the build started.
Right.
Which is obviously a long time ago.
Just one of the many
So the
challenges.
thing that I want to look at, by the way, because my assumption was that if you built a house today, then that house is likely to come out at A rating because of the build regs. But from what I can see, the build regs are certainly covering fabric, which your house is very good at. Looking at this, it's very well insulated. But I don't think it looks at the energy rating as such. I think it tells you all about other things, but it doesn't mandate a rating, I don't think. Okay, which is why you've ended up with going down a path that you've done everything right. If you look at all, if you look at all the, I'll call it the advertising that the government does to say this is what you have to do to put heat pumps in and stuff. So you did all of this, but you're not guaranteed a good energy rating. Right?
No.
Oh my goodness, what a minefield.
Yeah, I mean, as I said last night, because we did touch on EPCs last night, advice at the moment is, because we don't know what the new criteria is going to be in 2026. So if you have got a property that is C rated, even if it's still got 9 years to run on that EPC, at the end of this year, have another one done. So at least you've got 10 years grace.
Yeah.
Because that EPC will last for 10 years. So it gives you really some thinking time on, and it gives you the ability to sell it, because in the future they're suggesting that even residential homes you won't be able to sell unless they're C rated, which is obviously going to stop a lot of people moving because they haven't got the money to invest in the upgrades to get it to a C before they can sell it.
My personal view is that certainly you see, when I did this flat, which was stone built, the benefit of the flat is that I don't have to consider part of the walls because there's another building next to it, and the floor because there's something below it. Now, if I had to consider the floor and the walls, then I don't think you could I don't think you could put enough money into it to get it to a C.
No.
Right? If you imagine a small bungalow that's very, very old, so you have to look at the floor as well, then this is going to be very, very difficult.
Aren't some buildings exempt from the EPCs?
The way yes, I think they are, but these are
like solid stone, I believe, isn't it?
Is that doesn't, I don't think, preclude it, because this
I think it's there's something out there, isn't there? I think, especially if it's lime plaster and lime mortar in a solid wall, I think it's exempt.
I don't think it's automatically exempt. I think you have to make every attempt to get it to a C, spending up to £10,000. If you can't do it within £10,000, you can apply for exemption.
That's right.
But I think if you're going to damage the building, the detriment of the building by installing something to try and get the EPC, that's when you can get your exemption.
That's the reason to apply for an exemption, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But you imagine our port very quickly, because it's time to wrap up. But you imagine us trying to get all of our properties up to an EPCC, spending 10 grand on each. I mean, that's like, realistic, that's 2 years net cash flow on each property, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we won't earn any money for 2 years.
Yeah.
So we might as well sell them.
Which is what we're actually
Because we've got
doing.
capital growth.
Yeah, which is what I'm planning to do. So yeah, there's going to be a few more properties on the market up. Grabs.
I don't want any silly offers, because I'm not open to silly offers.
We are actually offering them to our tenants.
Yeah, we
We're
are.
actually having conversation with our tenants, because they've been in there for a good like, one of them's been in there since they're the first tenants, so they're 5 years. Yeah.
What, subject we could touch on next. We can go back to damp and mold, and if we get some slides ready of the images of number 9,
Yeah.
and we can just do a little bit of a presentation, 5-10 minutes, on what we've done to alleviate the problem and what the tenant's done to
create the problem.
create the
Yeah.
problem.
To accelerate it.
Accelerate.
And,
They've also now taken us to the council,
yes.
which is just, you know, we've spent, I reckon, 4.5 grand trying
Yeah,
to alleviate
probably.
the
Yeah.
damp and mold that she's creating.
Yeah. And then so that conversation is going to be had next week. So yeah, we'll keep you updated with
Yes, perhaps next Thursday
that,
that could be a
that
subject.
challenge.
Yeah. And we'll show you some images that prove that the tenant isn't
Yeah.
helping
So
themselves.
we've got to collate a case and
Yeah.
put it to environmental services. Just one more thing to do. But hey ho, this is the life of a landlord. Well, thank you so much for everybody
Yeah,
who's
thank you,
come and
Steve,
joined
for that.
us today. It's been amazing. It's fantastic that you do come every week. We get to share our knowledge, our experiences. We hope. I mean, it is real life stuff, but there
And
are
you're on
rewards.
yours as well.
There are rewards at the end of it. It is a great. I'm going to say it is a career. Property investing is a career. It's definitely a lifestyle choice. But what it brings is superb. Yeah.
I think it's a fairground ride. It's like a
Oh
roller
my
coaster, isn't
goodness.
it?
Yeah, it is the ultimate fairground ride, that ultimate roller coaster of ups and downs. But it makes you, oh my God, the challenges, you get growth, you know, personal growth, business growth. So yeah, for me, it definitely ticks all the boxes. I know that Neil sometimes just wants to, I don't know what he wants to do, but not be a property investor. It's definitely
No.
down the
I
pub is what he
to.
actually wants to do some of the time.
As you can't shut me up from where you are, well, you could mute me, I suppose, but what I would like to do is actually sell our entire portfolio and start again with a different strategy.
Yeah, well, maybe in time, maybe in time. So yeah, but
I don't want
thanks.
to give it up, that's for sure.
Thank you so much for being with us this week. We will see
everyone. Yeah.
We'll see you
Thank you.
here next week, 12:30 on Thursdays. Thanks to Steve for your input. Thanks to Rob and Andrew as well for joining us today. Yeah, we'll see you next week at 12:30. Have a fabulous week, and yeah, just keep on keeping on. That's all I can say.
Brilliant.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you later.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, hello. And then there was 3.